Welcome to Stormwatch by GreyNoise Intelligence. Each week, we drop the latest info on what's happening at GreyNoise and Census, take a look at a roundup of important and timely cybersecurity topics, toss out some expert opinions, and drop the occasional conspiracy theory. Today, we take a look at a recent CrushFTP vulnerability and dissect one of the oddest vendor vulnerability announcements we collectively have ever seen. We then turn our sights back to AI as we review and perhaps rip apart two recent papers on automated hacking using LLMs. Plus, we also cover our usual tool time, tags, and Kev roundup segments. And we're going to jump right in discussing all of this with me, Bob Rudis, and my co-host, Kimber. Kimber, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to take that little good morning as a chance to maybe get the background. The background music will make sense to all old people in the audience,
as we determined.
as we just determined, because I hopefully makes there. So we have a really, I think this is a cool thing. You can thank Claude 3 Opus for the question this morning. If you had to live in a painting, which one would you choose and why? And I'm going to get it up on here in a second.
The setup is intense, but I'll go ahead and answer.
Yeah, go for it.
My chosen painting is Starry Night, Van Gogh.
That's awesome.
Actually, really, that's
so why?
Definitely who painted it, Van Gogh.
yes.
Yeah. So why that one?
It just, the vibes are immaculate. I feel like it's truly just like I don't know what this like crazy fire situation is. The like swirlies in the sky, the brush strokes. I just feel like, it's just, I think it's the soft brush strokes. I have an art degree, kind of. I have an art associate's. I can talk about art.
I don't remember if you're a Doctor Who fan, but did you watch the whole Doctor Who epic that was about Van Gogh and really featured this painting?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
That like awakened some ancient nerd brain inside of me. And yes, I do.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? That was just an amazing episode. And
really
I kind of feel you to be right there with Van Gogh in this painting,
Yeah. It's good.
It was a great choice. Awesome choice. Emily, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
And the same question goes to you, and we're gonna put that up, I believe, right now. Come on, there we go. I might make that a little bigger for everybody.
Yeah.
So what is this? I don't know what this is.
Oh, I know what this is.
I love the colors. I love. So what is this?
So this is a painting called Nighthawks by Edward Hopper. And for folks listening, if you don't know it by name, I'm sure you would recognize it if you saw it. It's essentially an evening scene at some nondescript diner in potentially any like major city. There's a couple at the counter, there's a man dining or drinking coffee alone, and there's someone working behind the counter. And it's just this sort of kind of dark, like the restaurant itself is the only kind of like point of light in this painting. But there's just something about the mood of this that I really like. It kind of almost gives like noir sort of like detective vibes. And I just really love the mood. I love the ambiance. And there's a really funny edit that I've seen like years ago where there's like an anteater that's like photoshopped into the painting and it's like crushed the glass. And I also kind of love that.
I think that's my favorite thing about this painting is just like there's so many plays on it.
Yeah.
Like
I really feel like there's an edit that also has the Bob's Burgers kids at the counter.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a given. But yeah, I love the vibe. It's dark. It's a little like anything could happen. We don't know what's going on. Kind of love it.
I feel like it's a holiday in this scene. Like maybe it's like Christmas Eve or something. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, everything's kind of quiet around.
I mean,
like,
there's no Christmas decorations to be clear, but it's just giving sad holiday to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
I really like the hats too. The hats are really awesome. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. Whoa. Okay, Mr. Judgment. All right. What Glenn? I'm not even going to say good morning to you, Glenn. Heck with that now. So this is another Van Gogh, if I'm not mistaken.
It is another Van Gogh. So I am not classically trained in art. I am just a passerby that gets interested when they see something. And last summer I went to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, right? And
I would hope you know where you went last year.
I'm convinced.
well, I went to a few places. That's why I'm trying to figure out. But anyway, went to the Van Gogh Museum. It was amazing. The exhibit was amazing. And so that opened my eyes to a lot more of Van Gogh that I never ever knew. And I just like this one because one, it's very like.
Can you describe it for everybody that is
Yeah,
not
so it's
watching?
basically like a field of flowers and probably like some grains or something. Just basically like a big park. You can see a trail in the background, and then in the far background is a village or a small city or something like that. And so like I don't know, it just kind of gives like a very Buga vibe and very comfortable. And you know there's a town nearby, but you're in a park all alone, and you get these flowers and some space. The air is probably really clean. I don't know. It just feels really comfortable.
That was so specific about the
Yeah,
air. I really like that.
That's quite lovely, actually.
That's very Texan of you to think about.
To think about what?
Clean air.
Oh, that there's a town nearby. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I know that I don't have to go far to get what I need, but I can also get away from all these people.
One of our live stream participants, Deadbeef42, the artist, I'm going to say Bedard, but I'm just probably destroyed that pronunciation. Sorry. Created a nice adaptation of the diner scene in the 1990s. So for folks who want to go look at that, that might be neat to go to. Do that. Let's bring that off. Ashley, Overwatch, how you doing today? Wait, any typing?
The Overwatch
Any
is
typing?
looming.
The Overwatch is so this is the Overwatch's pick. It makes a lot of sense.
Oh my god! I had a poster of this.
Playing with puppies
Weird.
forever is the Overwatch's pick.
I love this. I've never
Yeah.
seen this, but I want to like wallpaper it all over my house. That's
Yes.
amazing.
So
This
it's an
is
image of
beautiful
a bunch
puppies.
of dogs. Is this a drawing or is this like AI or?
It's
too
art.
zoomed out for me to tell. Yeah, it's art. Okay.
Tracing.
It's art.
It's a lot of dogs. There's no
There's
dog
a
not
ton.
pictured.
It's a wow. There's a lot of dogs.
And important to note, this would definitely repeat forever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was looking, it will tile.
It does really? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, look at that. Holy
Mhm.
cow! Infinite
This is a
puppies.
wallpaper.
Infinite puppies.
Amazing.
This is beautiful. All right, I'm gonna go with mine. Mine's a little bit more like serious. I don't know, maybe not serious. So this is a painting of a very famous samurai turned Ronin, Miyamoto Musashi. If you ever read the Book of Five Rings, this is the dude from the Book of Five Rings. Bested 60 opponents across his fighting career, and that's him actually learning how to do something with his master. Their wooden swords. There's a wooden thing there, and I would just love to be there, learning, being in that time. All that kind of stuff. I think it would be a much simpler time, maybe a little bit more dangerous than other stuff, but I think it would be. I learn a lot, and it would be just kind of like really neat to be in a non-cyber world for a while.
So feudal Japan.
Yep.
Interesting. I learned a lot about Bob today. I think I knew everybody else, but I did not know that Bob would chosen time travel back to feudal Japan.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the samurai lore. So
It tracks though, Kimber. It tracks.
and what does that mean? What does that mean?
Don't worry about it. Just listen to your REM.
Wow. Okay. Well, we have some REM fans in the comments. Maybe go look there, Glenn, before you judge our good participants, our live stream participants. All right. Anyway, we got a lot to cover today. Let's try to get through this. Before that, yes, mash all the like, subscribe, comment, share, everything. You are doing that, so thank you. And we are the numbers are growing, so we really appreciate that as well too. Probably more to do with the amazing engagement of the live stream participants as well. They all rock. We're going to start off with a cyberside chat of something called CrushFTP. Now everyone knows why we actually had the REM song, and I don't know. I'm just gonna ask you all, like, how confused were you with this when this thing popped up like late last week, and then sort of had a whirlwind ride of the weekend? Like this was a ride, I think, wasn't it? A little bit.
Everyone get quiet. So I mean, we learned of CrushFTP. Has it been a full year, or when was the last?
It was 23.
Last fall, right?
Yeah.
There was something kind of on
Not
the
even a
heels of
full
all the
year.
like other file transfer stuff.
So that's when I
happening.
learned of CrushFTP.
But it goes back way further.
Yeah, apparently
1999.
Yeah, I was gonna say
1999.
it's like an OG, and it's what a company someone looked it up. It was like 10 people or something. Like they're just some people making this software that is cranking along.
I think we saw it was like less than 10 people probably, and you know, they're just some dudes who wanted to make some
they want to crush it.
And you know, I actually, Kimber, that is the perfect setup. We didn't even test this setup. Like that's because it is kind of a bunch of dudes really doing this. So last week on the 19th, they use a wiki. They use some wiki software to post all sorts of things, including their vulnerability.
Fine.
It's just I'm not dissing wikis. And they use it to publish their vulnerability disclosures, their vendor security vulnerability bulletins, if you will. And they posted one on the 19th where they mentioned that version 11 and versions below 11.1 have a vulnerability where they can escape blah, 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 and like get system files. They say the customers that use a DMZ, which means there's actually a link to that. I think it goes to Wikipedia. In front of their main CrushFTP instance are protected with its protocol translation system it uses. That's a weird phrase. And then all prior versions of CrushFTP were also affected by this most recent vulnerability. Please go see CrushFTP v10 info, which I do have right there. This is the version 10 info. For some reason, this is in giant letters and all bold and all sorts of things as well too, and it's on there. This wasn't like a really formal vendor this is the least formal vendor security vulnerability report I have ever read. How about you guys?
1000%. I mean, so for the viewers, they may be wondering, there's a big yellow banner on the top of this advisory that says this is version 24. So tell us about that, Bob.
Yeah, so actually I want to give kudos to the transparency that CrushFTP has for all of their wiki documents. You can go back to versions and see all the edits for everything there, and very few vendors will do that. So like good on them for doing that. I think
huge pro, yeah.
Yeah, this is great. Like this would be awesome if everybody did this. So that's one thing I want to put there. But because of that, like we got to follow along for the ride with each individual update that they've done to this, getting, I would say, equally stranger and maybe less helpful over time. I'm not sure if that's the way I would phrase this or not. So the version 25, it's kind of the similar information on there. They actually gave credit to one of the folks. I'm Simon Garelu. I probably totally ruined that name. Sorry, of the Airbus cert. And they basically mentioned that there too. So at least they gave credit to the person that found this. I got to assume that means Airbus probably uses CrushFTP.
Also surprising.
I'm a little surprised at that. Yeah, I'm a little surprised. So go back to there. Version 26 popped up as well too, and you don't we don't need to paste all of these links. You can just kind of get like individual ones if you want. But this is on they kept updating it. So after all that, the basic diff on this one is important. Due to the security updates since CrushFTP version 10.5.2 plus, any JDBC driver jar file needs to be placed into a particular directory or it won't load. So that means there was some directory permission stuff, and that's a very specific thing to call out in all giant bold things as well too. I'm surprised it's not all caps. And then they also talk to you about if you're going to actually, you have to upgrade V9 because apparently V9 is impacted, although it doesn't actually sort of state that. And it says you need a license code, and they like just contact them, and it's free if your maintenance is current. But if you're not, then you're stuck on a vulnerable version of CrushFTP 9 v9 that's out there. So that's kind of weird and interesting too. Emily, I forgot if we thought, can you actually determine the versions of these things remotely, or is that kind of hard?
So we're not able to determine the versions. We can see how many are floating around out there. Actually, let me pull up the recent advisory. I think as of yesterday, we saw around 9,600 exposed CrushFTP hosts. Wow. So that have exposed web interfaces, because that's a key piece of this, right? Like the vulnerability is actually in the web interface.
Hey, that's more than D-Link.
Yes, more than the real D-Link number. Yes,
the real D-Link was half that. This is twice as bad as D-Link. Will it get the same pub?
Probably not.
Okay.
So and is media going to report that there's a million of these on the internet now?
Yeah. So we go for 10 or 20x. So yeah, there should be 2 million of these. Yeah.
I just feel like you're going to need to start like mapping this all out, like between versions of updates on the wiki and like if you're on 9, here's how you get to 10.
So I think now, as of this morning when I checked, we're up to version 34 of the advisory.
And we can get there. So I'll get to this in a second. So 28 is they reduced all the text, and now it's just a bunch of big bold things for the mentioning that the V11 and V11.1 and when it was patched and the Simon thing. 30, actually, it got to almost be a real vulnerability report with V30 of the wiki entry. They added an FAQ. Would someone like to talk about the FAQ? Because that's, I think, what got us all sort of like vapor locked the other day.
I just want to say,
style.
Yeah, I again want to emphasize, if you're not watching this, if you're listening to this, please take a minute to either look up the stream after you listen or go look at CrushFTP's
listen. Hey, wait, okay. Hey, listen. If I'm on v10.7.1, do I need to upgrade to v11? No, just update to v10 or v10.7.1. If I'm on v10.6.1 or v10.3,
wait, we need to pause.
Yeah.
If I'm on v10.7.1, do I need to upgrade? No, update to 10.7.1.
Yeah, I know. Okay, sorry. Yeah, all right.
That's how we
do I need to upgrade to version 11? It's no, just update v10 to 10.7.1.
But if you're on 10.7.1, you have to update to v.10.7.1.
My favorite part is that they do a lot of the ... and then sometimes it's ...
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't even use proper ellipses. It's terrible. I hate that. If I'm on 10, what?
The question or FAQ 4 is really the best.
Well, we'll get there. Okay. But the other thing I want to point out is that these aren't proper ULLI bullet list items because they don't actually indent like normal HTML would actually indent.
Okay, that's a nitpick.
It is actually. If I'm on v10.6.1 or v10.3 or v10.5.5, am I vulnerable? And very emphatic and happy, yes. Update immediately to v10.7.1. Can you tell me how I can check if I have been exploited? Not really. The nature of this was common words that could be in your log already, so there's no silver bullet to search term for or to check for.
Okay, but
so this has evolved a couple times.
I know. We're gonna get there.
Okay.
But like, if you are one of the 10,000 orgs using this, like, you're gonna read this and be like, "Help!" Like,
at one point in time, the answer for question was sort of.
Yeah,
you'll get there. Yeah. So if I have a DMZ, am I really safe? Okay. Sort of. The attacker could steal files from the DMZ, but the DMZ shouldn't have files. No users, no private keys, no data files, etc. Still some OS files, but there shouldn't be anything of real interest. And if I only have my SFTP port exposed to the internet, but not any web ports, am I safe? Yes. Not. I would think this would be the most exciting yes, right? Because you're safe. You should be like told, and it's happier up there. And yes, there's exploit specific works on the web interface port. It's apparently one word, web interface port. We jumped to 30.
I have to say, like, there's this sense of like, maybe just because we've been seeing this evolve and watching it, but I just feel like the spirit of the older sysadmin who's like, don't worry about it. Is communicated very well through this advisory.
And I will note that it was 420 over the weekend, so that might have something to do with the nature of some of the edits that are on here.
Yeah, actually, what time zone are they in? Because maybe it was already 420 when they were.
It might, but they put 419 on here. Oh, yeah. So the update on the V31, they added to the third bullet. So there is no silver bullet search term for, but possibly looking for paths equals some kind of string might be an indicator. Maybe. Hey, here's something. Go do this out there for there. 32, it basically just adds some more boldface things. Doesn't really change a whole lot of stuff that was up there. And 33, we're getting close to the end. Just again, they modified it to make a little bit of cosmetic changes to some things. Not a whole lot there. But we have a thing. If I have a DMZ, if it's no, it's all caps, no, exclamation point. So if you run a DMZ, you are not safe. They've changed their opinion on this. A DMZ does not fully protect you. So something changed between those two edits. And to Emily's thing, is it 34 is the last one, right, Emily?
Yeah, that's the last one I see.
There's a couple more changes to the what you could look for. They still kept the all caps no, they kept the not real. Like basically this is really chill, really chillax thing. Just it's cool, people. It's cool. Just do this.
I mean, I want to say props to the transparency, props to getting information out when you can. So we're having a little fun with it. We're not completely dogging.
We're not being mean. This is not.
We're not being mean. We're having fun with it because it is a little bit of a breath. Oh my god, a breath of fresh air, given the PanOS and everything else that's been going on lately. So it was a nice little entertainment, and it got us talking about it. It is a very serious vuln that folks that are affected by it should definitely take care of. But it was really funny to kind of read this in the imagining long-haired surfer dude typing on the beach, trying to get the wiki out so they could go catch the next wave. I don't know, sort of yeah.
And I want to point out something to there too. So Patrick Garrity, friend of the show, Vonchek, a relatively new employee. He had never heard of CrushFTP. Maybe this is a marketing play. And I said that when the back in the other one, I did say that I mean, I don't, after reading the FAQs, I don't think they have the ability to think that far ahead.
I just also love the vibe of this being so kind of community driven, I feel because it's very clear between all of the updates they're probably not doing their own research, but
this isn't their forte, and that's fine.
They're probably getting somebody in their community is sending them emails. Who knows if they have they probably don't have a Slack or a Discord server. They probably are checking some listserv or something and somebody just was hey, actually.
And on version 34, dig CVE 2024-4040. If you run this and care about CVE numbers, you got that. So Glenn, you were amiss. It wasn't just banter that this fostered. This actually created a brand new product of GreyNoise. Actually, I think we did it in partnership with the data science team at Census too. So it's really kind of a first really cross collab product launch.
Well, interesting. This wasn't in the pre-show yesterday, so I'm very excited to see what came out in the last 12 hours.
we put it together over the weekend and created Mellow GPT. Really, if you think about it, vulnerability reports, the vendor vulnerability security releases, all the things you have to read through, the support pages. They're scary. They're boring. They're dry. They don't have that community feel like you guys just mentioned for that one on there. So we took a stab and we did a bunch of embeddings and trained a bunch of out there. And basically the process goes like this. It starts with picking some very good plant trim, bringing it through the entire process, adding in the boring vendor report, which then ends up producing a very chillax vuln report.
And we got to tamp it down.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to show you we did a sample run of these, obviously, and this was the best one. So we're going to do this one.
Everyone's too stressed. Chill out.
Yeah. So everyone might remember that Fortinet, the folks who have a research team that looks at other people's products but not their own, and pokes them in the eye instead of making their stuff better.
Bob loved a good dunk. Just loved a good dunk opportunity.
They they had a problem back in March. The CVE, CVE 2023-48788. This was a great I mean it was a they usually do a pretty good job with the vulnerability reports, but honestly it's scary, it's formal, it's nowhere near as cool honestly as the CrushFTP one.
Too much doomsday.
It is too much. We don't there's enough doom in cyber the way it is. So we ran it through. It's yo, Fortinet users, heads up on this SQL injection drama. What's the scoop? We've caught a wild SQL injection bug in FortiClient EMS that's been letting uninvited guests run amok with a cool emoji. I didn't even tell it to put emojis in. That's how great these LLMs are.
Days. Yeah, the CrushFTP was missing emojis.
It really was. This could level there's up too. This bug known as SQL injection, nerd speak for letting hackers play with your database using bad SQL commands, could let some sneaky hacker execute unauthorized commands or code. Not cool, right? Who's in the hot seat? Well, if you're rocking Florida Client EMS 7.2 version and then versions, you're on the front line, buddy. What's the fix? Chill, we got you. Just update to 7.2.3 or higher if you're on 7.2. We've also rolled out a virtual patch named blah in our latest FMWPDB update. Patch up and keep those hackers out. Is this thing on the loose? Yep. This isn't just theoretical. It's happening in the wild, like right now. Shout out. Big thanks to Tiago Santana from our own Fortinet Florida Client EMS squad and the cool folks at UKN CSE for spotting this bug. Timeline tidbits. On the 22nd of April, we first spilled the beans about this. On March 21, we dropped some extra IPS signature info because we've got your back. Need to know numbers. Severity critical. Yeah, it's a big deal. CVSS v3 score 9.3. That's high, folks. Impact execute unauthorized coder commands.
This whole thing is high.
AKA Hacker Heaven. And CVRF, grab the deets here. Stay safe. Stay updated.
I would be so much more interested in incident response if everything was worded this way.
So right now,
this needs to be released to the wild.
Any vendor right now that wants to level up and chill out your reports to de-stress the cybersecurity community, give us a call. We'd be glad to give you a license for Mellow GPT.
Like, I just immediately feel more like I can tackle like patching. I immediately feel like I can understand what is going on. The language is not complex. It is straightforward. This is beautiful.
Yeah, like Kimber, like back in the day, like you were in the hot seat for a lot of this stuff, and like it's really stressful. Like, I don't feel stressed after reading this. This is like
I feel confident. I feel happy. I feel like there is no doom.
And
with that, actually,
you feel empowered reading this. Like you don't feel like a victim. You feel empowered. Like, okay, I can do this. Thanks for the pep talk. We got it. We got it.
The pep talk vibe is what I'm here for. Like sometimes you just need someone to tell you, yeah, you got this. It's okay. The world's melting, but you're fine. We're fine. Yeah. Everything's fine.
Yeah. And more pep talks in your vulnerability disclosure.
Can we send like climate science reports and stuff to this too? Like, is this limited?
All we have to do is give it some more training data. We worked tirelessly through the weekend to cause this to happen. So I'm pretty sure we could do that
tirelessly.
Tirelessly.
This would be awesome.
And if for the first 20 vendors that actually do get this, like get a license, the license also comes jurisdiction allowing a subscription to gummies too at the same time. So
do you get to pick the strain of the report?
Yes. You totally get to pick the strain of
that's a feature upgrade though.
It is. It is.
That's our gold account.
Yeah, so Kimber, I'm not sure which product manager is going to actually end up owning this. Hopefully it's you because you've got the experience. You can help your peeps relax with this moving forward. So that'd be cool.
Not sure what that meant.
that felt very implicational.
I think that the implication was like Kimber has had to do actual incident response for a living.
Okay.
And that is a terrible. You all incident responders, you all deserve more than gummies. It's just great. All right. So we're moving from that subject where we ended on somewhat of a late. I'm going to be
Bob. Good job. It's about time.
I'm going to be a really big downer in this next section. A really big. I mean, I may not be the only one, but this is going to be a downer.
Okay.
That's why we ended on such a high note. Like this is just the cycle of Bob.
Oh, see, I almost have. Okay, this will be interesting because I almost have opposite feels. So.
Oh well, wait till we dig into the papers. So there are two papers. I will reference the second one later because we're not going to cover it. We're going to cover these. We're not digging into like weird data science things. Don't worry, folks. So a group put the same four folks wrote two papers. Actually, let me get the first one. This was actually their first one. Hold on. There, LLM agents can autonomously hack websites. That's their first one. And then hot on the heels of that one is LLM agents can autonomously exploit one-day vulnerabilities. Anyway, so both of the things claim that by using let me go back a little bit. For folks that don't use OpenAI, don't play with their models, don't play with this whole sphere of things. Bless you. You're doing work. Go do real work, not this stuff. Second thing is with that framework, with the API framework that OpenAI has, you can not only do like the chat completions and all the other LLM stuff, it can actually do things like execute commands in the real in cyberspace. So like it can go grab information, it can go through sling URLs at places, it can send post requests, all that kind of thing. So if you want to spend money, because they actually spent money, we'll talk about that. You can actually go do that. And let me give you an idea here. So this is the what I have a chart up right now, or it's a diagram up front from their paper. There's a command hack this website using acid rain, and then the tool set used is GPT-4 from OpenAI. The tools that it has access to, it has access to all the CVE information about the particular vulnerabilities. And as it does things, it can remember and backtrack through its history. It tries a bunch of things, and then in theory, will have a successful attack for that particular one. It has access to web browsing stuff, terminals, web search results. It can create files, edit, code interpreter, basically anything that if you've ever played with the chat GPT and the interface and the advanced interface on there, it's all the stuff that you can actually go do with it. They had a list of a bunch of different kinds of vulnerabilities, vulnerable applications that they brought internal, because they were in both papers. They were very, very quick to note that we did not want to let this loose on the internet because we're responsible researchers. So we duplicated these things internally, even though we have no idea what the config. Actually, I'll stop that. I'm digging later. These are actual vulnerabilities that they have too. So I'm taking the screen down because I want to talk to everybody here, not just like look at tiny little icons. And so I wanted to open up to Emily first, because like Emily is used to reading papers probably, and we are more than everybody else probably. I'm not dissing anyone, but we have a very I have a very boring life. I read papers a lot. Emily
Amber, did
probably has a
Bob just
very
say that you
engaging
and I
life.
don't read?
No, I
That's
did
what I
not.
heard, Glenn.
It's
Yeah.
wow. I
What
thought
I
I covered
heard.
it. I
Bob
thought
called
I
you
covered.
illiterate.
I thought I covered it. Anyway, Emily, I would like to ask you just a question first about the scientific methods used, at least in the one paper, because we didn't talk about the other paper like before. So could you give me your impressions of the scientific methods used?
So we're just gonna go straight for it, I guess.
Yep.
So I'm gonna like zoom out for a second.
Okay.
I was really skeptical when I started reading this paper, because anything that has to do with AI or LLM, I am very, very skeptical of the discussion around it, because I feel like it either skews really far into the like, it's going to save us, it's a panacea, like this is great, or it's going to like kill us all and take our jobs, or take our jobs and then kill us all. So that was kind of my like, I think this is probably going to be something overblown. Reading through the paper, I was like, this is an interesting idea, right? Like the concept of this in theory is interesting. Like, can this actually be done? But one of the things that stood out to me was the selection of vulnerabilities. So there's 15. Is not a ton. Oh no, I think my audio might be going out. So it's not a ton of vulnerabilities. Several of them do seem to be like, there's some remote code execution vulnerabilities, but there are also web vulnerabilities, which is kind of similar to what they did in this earlier paper that we'll kind of address. But overall, like I just wasn't left feeling super confident about the results. I mean, it seems like there's no transparency around how they actually accomplished this. And I understand, like, there's a whole ethics section about like, we didn't feel like this was the right thing to release. I mean, but then this is an argument we've been having for years around like Cobalt Strike and Metasploit and pen testing tools and proof of concepts. And so to publish this and make this kind of wild claim that like, you know, GPT-4 can, what is it? I think actually exploit 87% or 13 of the 15 vulnerabilities. Let's put this in real context, right? It's 13 of these vulnerabilities. It doesn't like show me the work. Like I kind of want to understand like what are we actually getting at here? It feels a little bit I don't know. I have questions around the methods there of like not wanting to share some of these things. I get it, but also like reproducibility is key, right? Like we have to be able to go and verify this and validate this. And I just I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts. I wasn't super confident about this.
So before we continue on the dunk, I wanted to get both Kimber and Glenn's. Glenn did say he had something positive to say about this, so I want to hear what Glenn thought after reading it.
So, I mean, positive, like I say that loosely, I guess maybe more saying it's not all negative. So taking it, so Emily's points are valid. Like, you have to show your work. But on the flip side, this is kind of like one of the core arguments in our field of like, how is releasing a video to prove a POC, but not the POC different than this, right? How is, but then if it is true, which is highly likely, if it is true, then why is that such a negative thing? Because again, in our field, like we have to do this balance of releasing a POC, not releasing a POC, when to release a POC. Is the POC helping the defenders more, or is it helping the attackers more? And there's arguments to be made on every single spoke of that wheel. So like I read this and taking it at face value was kind of like, well, it would be pretty cool if there were a way for defenders, not that you can exclude attackers, but for defenders to be able to more easily and quickly be able to like test their infrastructure for new vulns, end days, etc. As things are still evolving. Like if you really, really care about security, and it takes, especially like some vendors are better than others about releasing information, but sometimes we just have a tweet that says, I found this thing, it's really bad, and then everyone's left on their own for 6 days. And so like having a tool like this or something to be able to kind of go at it on your behalf and at least find some common or low-hanging fruit is not necessarily a bad thing for defenders. But on the flip side, for all the people that aren't working 24/7, it's going to like close that window of of opportunity to get ahead of the attack. So it's another thing. Like you're not going to stop it. So at least try to use it for more good than evil? Question mark.
So Kimber, you are a bona fide expert in vulnerabilities and exploits. You are. Whether you will admit that or not, you actually.
You can't read, but you're an expert. Okay.
Oh,
illiterate, but an expert.
Yes.
How did you know that's my pet name for Glenn? Anyway, so. Anyway, so I want to know what your impression was of this, because like I read it as hype to begin with, but you have a very critical eye when it comes to these things, and I'm really curious what you thought about these.
I think it was an effort. Like, I think somebody needs to be doing this, right? Like, somebody needs to be publishing the academic papers on this, because like that's how we make the situation better. That's how we understand. That's how we like come to a collective consensus. Is there's people like us in the background reading these academic papers and being like, that's bullshit or that's great. Like that's truly like the two outcomes of an academic paper. And hopefully the people that go, that's bullshit, turn up with enough information to talk about how to make a better study. And I 100% agree with Emily. Is one of the concepts that I'm seeing emerge from all of these like AI LLM related papers is like the repeatability of the experiment when it comes to like using LLMs in a hacking context, because I would think that there's such a ability to control like the environment. Like computers are very reproducible situations. Like we have so much ability to just like reproduce situation after situation after situation that like, why does it seem like some of this LLM stuff doesn't have great controls? And maybe like these papers just aren't explaining it very well, but also I don't know. So that was like one of my first thoughts, but I thought it was really interesting also that they modified their agent to not include the descriptions of CVEs, which increases the difficulty. So they're actually looking at like how much context do the LLMs need in order to like create these attacks or to move forward. And what they're actually finding here, in my opinion, is that they need a lot of context. So the systems that we create to give humans context also gives the AI context, which makes them more attacky fighty. So
Yeah, they even report that like when they remove that description, the accuracy in their best model falls from 87% to 7%.
That's significant.
Yeah, it is.
Like that's remarkable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the other thing that I wanted to call out here too, because what I'm trying to do is like not have everybody on the, because this made a little bit of a splash over the weekend, and the first paper made a splash back in February. This one made a splash over the weekend, and it probably will trickle out through there. And the of all the vulnerabilities, like they're all, so all the vulnerabilities are ones we would catch at GreyNoise in our current sensor network. They're sling and pray, and it works and it comes back or whatever. It's like they're not like multi-stage vulnerabilities. They're not things you have. And matter of fact, the two it failed on are multi-stage things. That's why it couldn't do those. And the second thing about that is these are all things that so the LLM was able to go Google or Bing or whatever OpenAI uses and grab results back, look at the
I'm gonna
results,
bet it wasn't being.
well, it's Microsoft, so I think OpenAI has to use Bing. I'm actually, I think they're contractually obligated to use Bing.
Oh, well, that
Um,
explains a lot.
yeah, I guess it does. And that all of those results come, like if you so I went and I did a Google, like I thought I could Google like they would, that the LM would Google, and I got back the results, and in the first three of each one, it was the actual real POC. Like here's the post request, here's the get request. So all this thing did was do the automate of like, oh, go find the thing, try the get request, backtrack, go get the thing, and that's my assumption, because as Emily pointed out, we don't have anything. Like these are very lightweight papers. We don't have what the backtrack was. We don't have like the sequence diagrams of what it tried. We don't have any of those things. And even more importantly, OpenAI told them, or maybe asked them, I don't know, not to release their prompts. So I will let everyone know two things that I have done since that paper came out. I made a request for both papers for the prompts that were used, the exact software configurations that were used, and a couple other things, so that in an effort so that we could actually reproduce those things. So I'll let everyone know if I actually get a response back from the authors on that one. But I gotta say, and like they did make Metasploit and one other tool, but they didn't mention SQL Map, and they did mention Burp Suite in the one, but not in the other. And I gotta tell everybody, like, and like I'm not dissing anybody else by not mentioning you. There's a lot of good scanners and vulnerability things out there. But like if you run SQL Map and Burp against a lot of these things, it's going to do a better job, because like that database is curated. I'm just, so it goes back to what Kimber said. Like this thing was using curated human information, and that's what this thing is doing. And the reason why I wanted to emphasize that, and I want to throw this out to you guys too now. So they made a big deal in the paper. At least I thought they did. Emily, you can tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me anyway, but you can tell me an idiot about this one. This cost $10 to do, and it would have cost a pen tester a whole lot of money. So you should like not maybe have humans anymore. They didn't say that, but that was the implication of it. So this is like an insane, because like right now we're in such a stage of AI hype. This could literally cause this to happen. Like this one paper, someone reading without a critical eye could go, oh, I'm just gonna go ask these guys for the thing and buy the thing and find the vendor that did the thing and did the IPO, and I'm gonna go. Like this could do real harm to the industry if people believe this and there's no more critical things happening to it. So I wanted to toss that out there to see what your feelings were about this, everybody.
Go ahead, Emily.
So I feel like I'm hopeful that enough folks in the security community still have kind of a good sort of bullshit detector around some of these things. I know there's a lot of hype. I know there's a lot of like, oh, again, it's going to save us. It's going to kill us. I don't know. It's going to do lots of insane things.
Hold on.
I really am hopeful that people see this.
Because the hack is on.
You said what if you said bullshit detector in cyber? I gotta play that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
Right.
Fair. It's the magic word or magic phrase. But yeah, so the cost analysis section in this paper was really interesting, because I was like reading through and I was like, wait, whoa, this is sort of out of, I was not expecting this. Like, are we really going to talk about the effectiveness of this from like an economical perspective? Because that's not really where I was thinking this was going at all. And yeah, it's like, this is so much like less expensive than real human, like hands on keyboard, eyes on keyboard. But the thing is, what's actually feeding this model to be able to do the things is real human eyes and hands on keyboards that it's pulling from. So like you're just kind of moving things down one layer, instead of like if you're gonna like abandon the people
like
and just
one.
use the models.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what made it so clear to me that like this was more of a, hey, let's start using this capability for enterprise software. Like let's create a company that's doing this, because we can prove that we can save money
like the papers, including the money aspect, was very clear to me, like what the motivation is for this. And more power to him. Like, we live in a society. Like, I get it. But the other interesting part besides that to me, like, is the outline of how many steps it took to do the thing, and like the size limitation and all of the considerations for, like, hey, OpenAI can only receive a response that's like this size. Like, you're going to be limited on what attacks it can automate. So, like, I think where we'll see this actually show up is like pen testing companies using it to get that first line out. Like, that's probably the realistic, like, outcome of all of this, which is already happening, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say, which is fine, right? Like, there's the point of computers and bits and bytes is automation and to make our lives easier and blah blah blah. So the spirit of this fits into that to do some of that initial work. But to previous points, the LLMs are trained on data that is already out there. So that means there's going to be a lot of data on WordPress and a lot of data on some of the major perimeter devices, but then not much data on whatever new softwares come out in the last 2 years. So you have to have a really good understanding of the data that, like, trash in, trash out kind of thing. So you have to have a really good understanding of what the models are trained upon so that you can set your expectations for, like, is this going to be helpful? Like, if I'm innovating and creating new technologies, then it's going to be a much different story than if I'm a legacy enterprise. And I say that meaning more like, companies that have been around for 50 years using CrushFTP that's, has been out since 1999, and different data sets are out there available for it to be trained on. So, like, it's going to matter as far as you're going to have to know that to set your expectations properly to be able to action this in a way that does give value. Otherwise, it's just another thing that has a banner in the expo hall of a giant conference.
This also makes me think about, from like a threat actor perspective, like what's in the blind spot of these models, right?
And if you understand the models, you can, you can
so, like,
weasel
okay,
into that.
sure, maybe I don't go after like cross-site request forgery or like cross-site scripting, which, fine. Maybe I don't go after this. Maybe there's other things I do because that just makes sense. And so, like, I don't know that this is, I mean, that's always kind of the cat and mouse too, right? It's like, we innovate, so do they, so on and so forth, until we all explode into the sun. But like, or, whatever. But I just don't. I hope that there are some measured, reasonable takes about this beyond sort of like what we're talking about right now, because I just don't think this is the thing that's going to, like, I don't know, upset the industry or like disrupt the industry, or I don't know. I'm still skeptical.
I don't even
It just
know
takes
what, like,
one company with an awesome graphic and some good
well,
marketing to upset the
like,
industry, though.
what does that really mean at this point, though? Because everything is so much like the same. Like, everybody is adopting AI. Like, everybody has like automated red team attack surface management.
Right.
Like, so what is it? What are we all doing here except like accelerationism?
What kind of a curious thought is, like, how would this affect source code leaks as far as like the impact of source code leaks instead of just depending on, kind of black box?
Ooh, this stuff, but make it supply chain.
Yeah.
Would be really interesting.
Like, like, let's use the idea for something that is actually a bit more tangible.
Yeah, let's go deeper instead of like.
Oh, Bob, idea. So first off, we curate this LLM agent, and then the output feeds directly into Mellow GPT, and then instant report.
It pre-creates the vendor security vulnerability disclosure report. That's brilliant,
$15
Did we
Glenn.
just create a
start to
company?
finish.
We just
created a company.
All right, Overwatch, we're done. No, just kidding. So if I recall correctly, Emily and Kimber, you're both going to RSA, right?
Yes.
If I could beg of you to pop around some of the more offensive security tables and just poke around this maybe a little bit there, see if they're using this any of their cost savings talk or anything like. I'd just be really, because I am not going. I will hopefully never have to go to RSA ever again. But I want to know if these two papers came out deliberately in this time frame because there's something going at RSA that will be announced.
My guess is going to be yes.
I would be shocked if not. If they come out a little later, I'd have said Black Hat.
Yeah.
Actually, should we do a over? Oh no, RSA's in a few weeks. We should do a over under on how many times you would see the word AI just walking to the expo hall.
Oh,
I mean, we would be guilty too. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, like, it's going to be, if there's 5,000 booths, it will be 4,098. We'll say AI in it.
And from one of our digital co-hosts, and if thank you for the collaborators on the live stream. This is a feature request enhancement for already. The product is not even like v0.1. We have a feature enhancement request to make us feel better about LLM taking all of our jobs. So it's like something that can soothe all of the practitioners and not just the ones that have to deal with those reports. And according to Patrick, every company is an AI security company now, and he's not wrong.
Look, I'm gonna spin up, when this whole GreyNoise thing, is in my past, 10 years down the line, I'm gonna spin up my own artisanal cybersecurity services where we really just focus on layers 1 through like 4. That's where we're at.
Actually, what I love about that is all the young, because I've been told I'm old, so all the young folks here, like Kimber, with the optimism that we're here in 10 years is just a beautiful thing. I just love that. I just think that's awesome.
Ooh.
All right, we're gonna go tool time. We're breezing through it. This is the reason why we're doing this one is that I trying to go from a piece of vendor technology to a CPE identifier for it, especially with all the vendor consolidation, is a royal pain. I do not like it. It's annoying. It wasn't more annoying previous lives than now, but it's still annoying. It's gonna get annoying for us soon. So this is a new you can install it yourself and run it yourself, or you can use the one that's online. This is the Circle LU folks again. It's a CPE guesser. You basically just feed it a query of keywords associated with the particular vendor technology. You get some ideas of what the actual CPE might be, or one or more of them. It gives you a starting point that you might not do on your own. There's no AI in here. It's Redis. It's Redis and ranking. So it's really basic.
I was curious, but like overall, my feeling on this is like, oh, this is cute. I really like this.
Yeah, it's adorable. I mean, it's really focused. There's no big major claims. Easily runnable by anybody on any system, and it helps because I grepping through those CPE files is really annoying. It's really annoying. So have fun with this one, everybody. Shameless self-promotion. We're light this time. What I will say is I want to give more props to the team again. They got us to 1,337 LEET tags the other day. We did a blog post about it. I did a little thing ahead of NetNoiseCon on Friday. So we're not going to dig into it here too much. Please read the thing, and I really appreciate the detection engineers and data science folks at GreyNoise. They have done a phenomenal job to make this happen. It's all them. And they've already gone past this. So I've set the bar to 31337. So we'll see how much that kills them this year. I don't know if they can do this or not, but we'll see. What, Glenn? No? Okay.
Nope, absolutely not.
Oh, wait, and actually, one of our pseudo digital co-hosts mentions that in 18 months they're probably looking at leet kevs. So like leet kevs can maybe we'll have to see if we can get like the design team to make a little kev thing here too. That'd be pretty cool if we get a little kev thing.
Yeah, this logo for the 1337 milestones really cute.
Yeah, the design team, their mind boggles how amazing.
There were some passionate debates too about like
hands,
do they have arms, do they have legs, are they holding hands?
My gosh, I love that.
What's their status? Is it okay?
Right, like they're holding hands, Taggy and Ghosty. So like
Taggy, Ghosty, and Kevy. We need Kevy.
We can have Kevy.
We need Kevy.
Also,
speaking
as far as numbers go, I was just
sorry.
I was just gonna say, as far as numbers go, there's an intermediary number. Maybe you go for 2038.
Ooh.
Okay.
2300 even, and then
cool.
2600. I don't know.
2600. Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
I was just trying to crush spirits. That's all. That's okay. Thanks. Speaking of tags, they keep this blew past really quickly, elite tags, and they are, I believe, as of a couple minutes ago, at 2 tags a day for 2024. I know I've said this before, like we were at 0.6, 0.5, like last year, and this is
Just for context, like
just
how cool this
amazing.
is
Go ahead, Glenn.
I was gonna say we're like I was trying to pull up the graph real fast, but we're basically almost like the number of tags we've done in 2024 is basically what we did in like almost what 9 months of 2023 or something. Like
Yeah, hit the blog post because the graph shows that it's scary
yeah,
how
it's
we're gonna blow past it. It's really scary. It's
and
awesome.
it's so much due to SIF, which I know we mention every week, but it's that freaking cool. So like sorry. Sorry that it works, not really, but
Bob, you're going to have to give us time some days so that I can rant about identification of the baseline noise of the internet.
Yes, we will do that.
Just how having it fully identified will just be such a
Yeah, so yeah, you're the other one. Like I it's right. I keep forgetting I can hear, but this
You're
is
the other
we're
one?
identifying everything, Kimber. Everything on the internet.
Well, that's
We're
the
getting
beginning
there.
of the rant is could we ever identify everything? Maybe.
A
I
good
don't
chunk
know.
of it.
You'll have to
We're-
tune in one day when
yeah.
we have time to talk about that kind of thing.
But before the 10 years when Kimber retires.
Right.
We need to talk about Kev, but we don't because it's been 11 days
Nope.
since the last. No, they did one today.
It's been 0.
Oh, so we no longer have the desert of the Kev. Okay.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah, there was a print spooler, 2022's print spooler vuln.
Oh gosh, stupid print Windows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, why not?
Of course.
Thanks,
Spoilers never die.
thanks, Todd. Thanks, Todd. They ruined the. This is the whole thing was set up for this, and now you ruined it. Appreciate it. It's great. Thanks.
Thanks for doing your job, you know.
Yeah.
Shout
Thanks,
out
LM
to the
Security.
homies.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, wow. We actually went longer than I thought we were going to go because I think we had more to say about the LLM thing than I really thought we were going to have. It's an interesting situation, and I do hope we get some resolution to that situation too, because it's going to be interesting to see where
What
things are.
resolution would make you happy, Bob? The receipts?
I want the receipts. Yeah, I want to see the prompts.
Okay.
I want to see the tests. I want the configs. I want to be able to reproduce. I want to. So I work. So a lot of my time in the R land is with R Open Sci folks. Like they help people make reproducible science using R, not just R these days, but R too. And like their whole thing is about reproducibility. So like I've learned a ton from them about how that works and how the whole thing can be done and what the process is for it. They're really big on it, and they in a lot of other disciplines. It'd be great if like cyber folks did it maybe a little once, twice.
So like if this was truly like fully legit and whatever, like you're saying basically releasing the receipts would drive their case forward quite a bit.
Yeah, it would let somebody else reproduce this and
Yeah.
go, yes, this is a thing, and actually expand it to see if it can fit other things. Because this is no different. Like we're going over, but like this is no different than having a perfectly curated data set to completely do your findings and excluding all the horrible stuff that doesn't fit those findings by going, look at this cool thing here, and letting someone else reproduce it on that thing and beyond makes it science and lets us move forward with real big things. Because I agree with you guys. If this is real, if it is legit, it can be a huge leg up for humans to not have to waste drudgery time, let their smart input curate these things like it does for SIFT and for what we're doing tagwise, and it will level up security and be a really good thing. If they don't do that, it's just FUD and it's making another billionaire more of a billionaire, and I don't really care about that. So don't
I
make me.
think drudgery is good for humans.
Yeah, probably not. I think my kids would all disagree with that, but sure. All right. Well, thank you all for taking time out today. And actually, people don't know this, but these three amazing humans and actually take time along with this or outside of this to help figure out how to make the show better as well too. So thank you for all the time that you dedicate to doing this. I know I actually appreciate it, and I really appreciate it. And as promised, I keep trying to get Perplexity to give me something useful to say at the end of the show. This was a complete surprise to the host this time. So for everyone that's joined, thank you. That's the eye of the storm for this week. Remember, in the ever-shifting landscape of cybersecurity, staying informed is your safest harbor. Join us next time as we navigate the digital squalls and cyber gales on Stormwatch. Until then, keep your data secure and your minds stormy. Take care, everybody. Catch you next Tuesday.
Bye.